Chapter 48. The Sickly Young Man. He's going to destroy the 100 longevity peach tree. Chopped and burned. He's going to burn the 100 longevity peach tree. He's crazy. Guhai is crazy. That's the 100 longevity peach tree. He's going to destroy it. 10 days. He's going to destroy the 100 longevity peach tree if he can't see the unknown man for 10 days. Are you kidding? All of a sudden, cultivators from the 4 directions of the world were clamoring, all jealous of this loser Guhai. That was the 100 longevity peach tree. If it was outside, all the forces in the world would have heard of it and wanted to grab the 100 lifespan peach tree, which was countless times more precious than the 100 lifespan peach, because with it, there would be a constant flow of 100 lifespan peaches, but this loser was going to destroy it. Can you not be so capricious? If you don't want it, why don't you give it to me? Countless people were staring at the sky with red eyes. Chen Chonchen even stared blankly at the helmsman. At this moment, Chen Chonchen felt that his 3 views had been shattered by Guhai. Why? Why couldn't he understand the helmsman? Guhai, how dare you? The 9th Duke instantly glared and roared. Guhai twisted his head, glanced at the 9th Duke, and revealed a light smile. Touching the 100 longevity peach tree, he took a deep breath and closed his eyes slightly. Golden chess pieces. You can make me communicate the rules of heaven and earth. How strong is the power of chess? How strong is the power of the rules? Since that's the case, then I'll borrow the power of the rules of heaven and earth to establish a formation left behind by the old man chess viewer. Guhai steeply opened his eyes. Boom. Steeply, high above the sky, countless white clouds rolled in. In the midst of the clouds, thousands of armies were abruptly dispersed, transforming into a huge chessboard of 28 horizontally and 28 vertically in general. Snap, snap, snap. Vaguely, it could be seen that the thousands of armies and horses on the chessboard, as if they were transformed into individual pieces, slowly disappeared between the rolling clouds. A big chess game slowly laid out and opened. The big chess game was not the board next to it. It was the program chessboard that was seen on that white crystal in Guhai's brow space the other day. It was the board with 28 vertical and horizontal channels. At this moment, the chessboard with 28 vertical and horizontal channels was spread out flatly, turning into a monstrous large formation. Rumble. Hundreds of miles in the sky were covered by rolling clouds and mist, and within the clouds and mist, a rumbling sound was vaguely emitted, and the sound was heard all over the world. A powerful might suppressed in all directions. A chess Dao Grand formation. Chen Chonchen and Gao Xianzi stared wide-eyed, revealing shocked expressions. How could this happen? The helmsman came in with us. It's only been a short while. How could he? Chen Chonchen naively muttered to himself. Unbelievable. The helmsman himself is a magnificent character. All he lacks is an opportunity, a fulcrum. Once the helmsman is given the opportunity, he can rise up with the wind and rock the world. Gao Xianzi's eyes flashed with an exclamation. On the other side, Meng Tai opened his mouth in astonishment. 1,000 armies is actually not the strongest form of ancient sea's cloud beast, really. Formation. Using golden pieces to mobilize the power of heaven and earth to set up a formation. How is that possible? What's his Guhai's origin? Who can tell me? What is his origin? The 9th Duke stared and exclaimed in shock. Rolling clouds wrapped the high sky. It made it impossible for everyone to see inside. Gao Xianzi, Chen Chonchen, come in. Guhai's loud voice came from the rolling clouds and mist. Yes, the duo answered. Yinglong flapped his wings and steeply rushed into the clouds and mist with the duo. Below, countless cultivators kept staring at the sky. Is it really guarding for 10 days, destroying the 100 longevity peach tree after 10 days? Who is Guhai? Who can tell me who the fuck is Guhai? When did such a character come out? He's looking for the unborn. Who is the unliving? For a while, everywhere in the world, it was as if a pot had been blown up, and the clamour was incomparable. Above a huge square, the Grand Elder and the Bodhisattva of Mercy Life stared high into the sky. It seems that this time, you, the Game Heaven Pavilion, are really in trouble. Mercy Life Bodhisattva shook his head and laughed. The Grand Elder stared at the high sky for a while in silence. Great Elder, that madman said that he destroyed the 100 longevity peach tree in 10 days. Are we still not going to make a move? Great Elder, that 100 longevity peach tree, it was planted by the pavilion master himself back then. Great Elder, what should we do now? Who is the unborn? Many came over amidst anxiety. Inform Xiaoju. Tell him to roll over and meet me right away. The Grand Elder suppressed his fire and said, yes. A day later, in the middle of a large hall, there were 2 positions directly north in the Great Hall. The Grand Elder sat on the left, while on the right, there was a sickly young man. The sickly young man, dressed in a white robe embroidered with red peonies, had a handsome face, and his appearance bore a slight resemblance to the 9th Prince. Sitting beside the Grand Elder at the moment, he was not being respectful, but rather grasping one handkerchief after another, his eyes looking grimly at the 9th Duke standing across from him. Cough, cough, cough. The sickly young man coughed for a while, the handkerchief in his hand covering his mouth. Grand Elder, I tried my best, the 9th Duke said with a bitter face. The Grand Elder took a deep breath. I know you tried your best, but, after all, you lost the 100 longevity peach tree. This matter is not trivial. Then the ancient sea wants to see the unborn, us, the 9th Duke said expectantly. Rubbish, cough, cough, cough. The sickly young let out a cold cry, followed by a burst of coughing, with a handkerchief covering his mouth. The 9th Duke's face turned ugly for a while, but he didn't dare to talk back. This time, the matter is urgent, otherwise I wouldn't have disturbed you. Are you all right? The Grand Elder looked towards the sickly young man. It's an old problem. Every 200 years. It will flare up once. It will be fine soon. The sickly young shook his head. After saying that, the sickly young man stared at the 9th Duke. The 9th Duke faced the sickly young man, but he hung his head. The 100 longevity peach tree was lost by you, so you will be responsible for getting it back. The disciples of the Yition Pavilion shall not intervene. This is the rules of the Pavilion Master, even because of the 100 longevity peach tree, the sickly young man said in a cold voice. But me, the 9th Duke said with an ugly face. In addition to the Yition Pavilion disciples, everyone else is at your disposal. The group of outer disciples who just joined the Yition Pavilion, all of them will first be removed from the Yition Pavilion identity and relegated to the status of ordinary aborigines, so they can be at your disposal, the sickly young man said in a cold voice. Yes, I will definitely do my best, the 9th Duke assured. The sickly young man stared gloomily at the 9th Duke. What are you going to do? Cough, cough, cough. I will definitely organize the outer disciples properly, break through the defenses of the Grand Formation with a point, and snatch back the 100 longevity peach tree. The 9th Duke gritted his teeth and assured. Foolishness, cough, 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 the sickly young man said in a cold voice. Hey, the 9th Duke was slightly stunned. It's not okay to mess around. Won't you use your brain? Now that the 100 longevity peach tree has been exposed, we are not the only ones who want the 100 longevity peach tree. All the outsiders want it. All the outsiders are a huge force, and you actually don't know how to utilize it, driving the outsiders and attacking the big formation. My Yichun Pavilion disciples, even the outer disciples, are very valuable. How can I easily send them to their deaths? Cough, 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 the sickly young man said in a cold voice. Yes, the 9th Duke's face instantly changed, and he was incomparably ashamed. All right, go, the sickly young man said grimly. Yes, the 9th Duke could only exit the Great Hall. Only the Grand Elder and the sickly young man remained in the Great Hall. With such a big commotion, Would the uninitiated know about it? The Grand Elder frowned. The sickly young man shook his head. I don't know, with the ability of the insane. If he wants to know one thing, no one can hide it from him, but he rarely pays attention to the four directions of this world. Whether or not he has paid attention this time, I don't know. Besides, we have lost something ourselves this time. How can we go and beg him? However, who is this Gu Hai? Why does he know how to manipulate the rules of this realm's heaven and earth? Immortal, currently 70 years old, just joined the One Piece Hall. I'm not sure about anything else, the Grand Elder frowned. Above the Pavilion Master's casket, that stored power chessboard, the position of the 9-5 bursting open pieces. Maybe it's related to this person. It's too coincidental after all. We need to find out about him as soon as possible, the sickly young man said in a deep voice. Oh, related to him. That needs to be captured and interrogated, the Grand Elder said in a deep voice. The sickly young man shook his head and said, No, don't move him. Why? Don't move him. It's best if everything stays the same. Wait until all the pieces have stored up their strength to perfection. If it's not him, it's useless to move him. If it's him, he's already involved. Moving him now will instead be bad, the sickly young man said in a deep voice. The Grand Elder was silent for a moment and nodded. The third day. Suddenly, all the outsiders were surprised to each find a golden chess piece. Golden chess pieces were rare and hard to find, even though there were nearly 10,000 people who had found golden chess pieces. In the past, the outsiders who had entered this realm were not 10,000 people, so little. Thousand Island Sea. I do not know how many forces to come. Has a huge base of outsiders. In the past, the appearance of the golden chess piece, but 1/10 or even less. But at this moment, as if the game of Heaven Pavilion intentionally guide general, more and more people find golden chess pieces. Slowly, the number of people who could mobilize the cloud beasts also increased. Tens of thousands of golden chess pieces, or even 100,000 golden chess pieces appeared, with more and more cloud beasts coalescing in mid-air. The cultivators, who were previously shocked by the ancient sea's thousands of armies, at this moment, their hearts suddenly warmed up. The ancient sea has 1,000 armies and horses, but we also have many cloud beasts. Tens of thousands of cloud beasts appeared. Already have the premise of overthrowing 1,000 armies and horses. Countless cultivators didn't rush to the sky, but at this moment they were already restless. The cloud beasts rushed to the sky again and again, inspecting around the big formation set up by Gu Hai, as if they wanted to find out the cracks and weaknesses. Chen Chongchen, Gao Xianzi, Gu Hai, and Xiaoru were standing inside the grand formation looking at the outside world. The outside world couldn't see the inside, but the inside could see the outside world, watching more and more cloud beasts appear. Chen Chongchen gulped. Helmsman, the situation is not good. It's only been a few days. Why are there suddenly so many golden pieces appearing? Gao Xianzi said with an ugly face. Gu Hai coldly looked at the outside world. The Yiqian Pavilion has finally intervened. This was guided by the game Heaven Pavilion. Chen Chongchen was surprised. The Yiqian Pavilion drove 100,000 outsiders, preparing for a swarm attack on my grand formation. Although the 100,000 outsiders won't all be utilized, however, tens of thousands will surely be utilized to impact my grand formation. The temptation of the 100 lifespan peach tree is indeed too great. The Yiqian Pavilion has learnt to be smart this time, too, Gu Hai said in a cold voice. Doesn't that mean that we'll be facing tens of thousands of cultivators next? Chen Chongchen opened his mouth in shock. For people against tens of thousands, this was to play with death. Should we play so big?